Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and iOS 12.2 Beta 4 has been out for a few days. I've been using it on my iPhone XS Max, and it's been pretty good for me. In fact, it's very similar to iOS 12.2 Beta 3 for me in particular on this device. And I'm going to talk about battery life in just a moment, and I did do a YouTube community poll. We'll talk about this in a moment as well. They had about 6,200 responses, so that's pretty good. And what I did is I took all of those different responses that people commented on and kind of took out the things people were saying the most and put them together. So for me, I haven't had any lockups. I haven't had the scrolling freeze. I haven't had any lag. Also in settings, I haven't had any issues with settings freezing, and quite a few of you actually said that settings was freezing for you. I haven't experienced this at all on this particular beta, which is nice. It's nice and smooth, as you can see here, and it didn't freeze on me at all. So that's really nice. Now, there were quite a few reports of Wi-Fi not working properly for some people, or maybe you would go into an app and maybe the App Store wouldn't work, or it was giving you errors. I've actually had Wi-Fi not work properly and LTE on this one. I might open an app, it doesn't do anything, then I'll go and turn on airplane mode, turn it back off, and the problem is solved. They still haven't nailed down what's going on with this antenna. Like I said before, I'm more convinced this is a hardware issue because they couldn't use those Qualcomm modems. So I think there's something to do with that. Hopefully they resolve it via software, but it's hard to say. It just seems to be a continual problem. Now, I haven't had any crashes. I know some people were saying there were crashes throughout different apps. Sometimes they would open an app, it would crash. Maybe even the stock apps would crash, even the dialer. However, not many people had these issues. There were quite a few that had little different issues, but people that mentioned the same thing, there were really only 4 or 5 of you that mentioned these things. Now, as far as battery life goes for me, battery life was pretty good. We'll go into battery here. My battery health is still 100 on this device. And over the last 10 days, you'll see here's the usage. Now, this was today or yesterday, really. It's almost 1 in the morning. But yesterday, now it's almost 4 hours of screen on time and 20 minutes of screen off time, and you'll see I have 37% left. So like I've been saying, I've been getting almost 8 hours of screen on time. Some people may get 8 to 9 hours of screen on time, and for me, I'm just using mostly email and social media apps. So depending on what you're doing, that's going to use more battery or less battery. If you play a lot of games, you'll use a lot more battery. Now, of course, if you are having these issues, be sure to report them in the feedback app. What Apple does is kind of group all those together so that they can take what's most important or what people are reporting the most and work on those first. So let's go ahead and take a look at the YouTube community poll, since this one's being more stable. Oh, and before we talk about this, the actual release time of this, I'm really thinking that there's going to be an event on the 25th, so we'll probably see a beta on the 11th, the 18th, and then the final somewhere around there. So we may see 6 betas on this particular release. We have seen more than that in the past. Maybe we'll see less and they'll skip another week like they did before. It's hard to say, but that's when I think the final will come out, but we won't know until we get to that date. Now, as far as the poll goes, like I said, 6.2K or 6,200 people responded, so I really appreciate that. 20% of you said it has been great. Only 4% said terrible, and in previous ones, this has been higher than 5%. It just depends on which poll. Only 7% said okay, but some bugs. Quite a few of you are using 12.1.4 still, and 17% are on older versions, maybe you jailbreak or something like that. Now, there's 115 comments, and I went through every single one of these, read every one of them, and then compiled that information I already talked about. And when I'm talking about this information, this is across all devices. So it doesn't matter if you're using an iPhone 5S or a XS Max. The problems seem to be on every single one of them, or good battery life for every single one of them. Most people said good battery life, but some people said there wasn't great battery life. So if you take a look here, you'll see stuttering animations, scrolling, and keyboard. You'll see also settings keeps crashing, having problems with settings and App Store, and you'll see that was probably what I saw the most, is settings and App Store. Bluetooth issues, I haven't had any of those, thankfully. Some people said no issues on my XS Max, and iPhone 6S works perfectly. iPhone XR and iPad, and it's great. 18, it's telling me it's time for bed. 18-inch iPad. I didn't turn off notifications, so we may see a few more of those pop up. Somehow the battery bug on the lock screen is back. Battery life 5 hours, and with 88% capacity on an iPhone 7. iPhone 6s battery life is very good. You usually get over 4 hours on social media. Performance is also good. Okay, but some bugs. When I try screen record, an error message pops up, so I can't screen record at all on my iPhone XR. That was pretty unfortunate, but here's a couple more. Let's see, I'm using 10.3.3. Hopefully that's on an older device. Great on the iPhone XR. And you're getting the notification sound 2 times. So this also, please can you make a video on the XS unexpectedly shutting down and unable to boot up? You may need to bring that to Apple. That's not a normal thing. In fact, if it keeps going on and they're not finding any problems, you may need to restore your phone. So that's it for everyone that responded and how it's going for all of the different devices. Hopefully it's working well for you. And again, I expect either a beta this coming Monday or Tuesday or the following week. It depends if they skip a week or not. But let me know your thoughts about it in the comments below. Of course, I'll link this wallpaper as I always do in the description. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. If not, the other one's okay too. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.